Building a boat is a lot of things. It is exciting and idealistic.
I'm pretty happy with this.
It is sweaty and frustrating.
I feel like I have gone for a swim underneath all this clothing.
It is rewarding and satisfying.
Woo-hoo!
Every decision made now will have consequences in the future, and there's no one right way to do things, only hundreds of different ways which could all give a different result. Perhaps that's the hardest part of boat building, all the decisions. And we had just made another big decision.
Here we go. Alright, let me bring this one out of the way. Things are collecting here in this wood.
The V-berth was slowly coming out, piece by piece, all so we could redesign our chain locker. A pile of chain may not seem like the most interesting or complex item on a boat, but it is one of the most important. Combined with a good anchor, that pile of chain up forward equals your safety, your insurance, and your good night's sleep. So what makes a good anchor locker? Well, it's got to fit a lot of chain, the more the better really. And next, it needs to drain. When the chain comes up wet, that water needs to go somewhere. Lastly, if you've got a lot of chain and you plan on sailing offshore, it's nice to know that all that heavy chain isn't affecting your boat's sailing performance. So if possible, it's good to store weight low in the boat and not right at the bow. Our current chain locker stores a decent amount of chain, but we want to store even more. We want that weight concentrated lower down and further back, and so we've come up with our plan. We want to store a lot of that chain beneath the forward section of our V-berth. Chain will enter at the deck, drop down into the original chain locker area, and then a large passageway low in the bulkhead will allow the chain to follow the curve of the hull to rest under the V-berth. This opens up a huge area for chain, and it concentrates weight low in the boat. But to make all these changes work, we'll also have to change how our chain locker drains.
In the very front where the chain piles up, there's a PVC pipe, and that PVC pipe runs underneath the V-berth, underneath the cabin sole, and it ended up in this compartment here.
We plan on using a similar pipe system, but it will have to be rebuilt for our new chain locker location.
No, I think I'm pretty happy with how I took things apart, because it's one component, two, three, four. Four big components that can go back in place.
Okay.
And now...
I'm curious to see how you get that out of there. It's like those puzzle games that I used to play as a kid.
The hardest part though was the wall that was separating the head that I placed there.
That took a bit of puzzling.
Yeah. Well, I don't need it to go very far right now. But as you can see, now I can take this part of the floor out. I'll use the fine, make a cut. Always make sure, well, I will have to make sure, this is a note to myself, to not go down like this, otherwise you're damaging the hull. Always parallel to the hull.
chain locker drainage pipe lies just beneath the floorboards, but it's pretty difficult to access.
And I made an effort to get it off in one piece, so now I have a perfect template. Cool! Oh. I'm glad it is not completely filled. This will be a bit easier to get out. But here goes the famous pipe. But down here it's fiberglass, so this will also get a lot bigger. It's the same foam here.
The pipe is encased in foam, presumably to keep it from moving and chafing, but for us it was just one more obstacle to get past.
I think I've said it sometimes already, but so many grab the angle grinder first whenever it's about removal, and I think this would be so unpleasant when you have a dust storm in here. I like removing big chunks. I really like prying and chisels and big chunks first. Of course, this will need to be grinded after too.
I know that, you know, we're always wearing masks, but still, working on boats is actually a health hazard. The more you can prevent dust
for sure
at all is so much better for you in the long run.
Yeah, this is no good for body, just good for the soul, if even.
Yeah.
That's the dreaming part, is good for the soul.
What have you been working on?
I'm done.
Done what?
With the chain locker. The new chain locker. Go have a look.
What? It's only been like 2 hours.
I know.
Okay. I'm curious where this is going to lead me.
Into the chain locker.
Tightrope walking. Wow.
Careful, it's fragile, though it's just template material.
This is, okay, so this is a template. So this is where the wall will be for the chain locker, and then over here will be chain. Oh, you made a template grate as well.
Mm-hmm.
With these templates, it's a lot easier to visualize how this may all come together. There's still lots to do and lots of adjustments to be made as we test fit the chain to see how it flows into the locker. We also have to open up the bulkhead to allow the chain to actually pass through. And when we make the final version of that bottom grate, we're going to have mesh on it to make sure that no seaweed or debris blocks our drainage pipe. So yeah, there's still lots to do, but we're getting there.
I'm pretty happy with this. Soon we'll have more plywood, so I can actually cut this out and make it. And I don't know what material I'm doing this yet. Next time we're in town, let's look for some cutting board. That'd be good if it isn't wooden.
Cutting, oh, interesting, like that thick white cutting board material?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is coming together very nicely. I am pleased with this. And next is making the hole in the bulkhead.
This drill is incredibly powerful, and these huge hole saw bits are very difficult to hold. Aladino was straining every muscle in his body to make sure everything stayed in perfect alignment, because if it went off just slightly, the drill kicked back violently. With the bulkhead pathway cut and the templates made, it was time to do some more prep work. I removed the old fiberglass roving over the insulation so that we can cover everything with new layers of fiberglass for better strength, better adhesion, and a smooth surface.
I'm done. I'm not gonna pretend like that was fun because it was not, but it's satisfying to have it done.
On the other side, it was 2 hours altogether.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. So that is pretty quick. For how quick it goes, of course, fiberglass is never fun, but we can see the balsa at least at some points, and we can make some deductions on how the rest looks. Yeah, it's not waterlogged at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Yeah.
It just gets the mold from some gaps, like we see.
The anchor locker will be a continuing story as we piece it all together and test the whole arrangement with some chain. But that's still to come. The reality is that we've always got several projects on the go at once. And actually the chain locker project is for when the deck beams project is on hold because we have to wait for a new beam to laminate or for epoxy to dry or something else. Magic Carpet 2 is always a busy place. And so as all this was happening in the V-berth, there were also several developments just next door in the head that I'll quickly bring you up to speed on.
Morning face.
You have done many things.
Have I?
Come in. All right, here we are in an enclosed space. This is the head.
Or will be.
It will be. We've been planning out the configuration of our head for some time, but now Aladino had made a few templates to give our ideas a physical form. Some simple cardboard templates can really help the decision process, and it had already cleared up a few things for us. We've got this wall here, out of cardboard, but I think that this is sort of a nice partition. I think, and we'll talk about this later, but I think cutting it back a little bit might be nice. I think it's maybe even a bit too much at the moment, and maybe putting a nice curve, like an arc in it, so that it's cut away a bit more at the bottom. This bucket sort of represents the toilet, but the toilet itself is going to be an awful lot bigger. The composting heads are actually quite chunky units. They're a lot bigger than a normal marine head. So we took some measurements yesterday and it will fit here, but this step will have to be extended out even a bit more. Dini also cut away part of the countertop here, but I think it is going to be still extended this much. The tricky thing with placing sinks on a boat is that they need to be as close to centerline as possible for safety, because when you're heeled over, the sink can actually drop below the water line and then it starts filling up with water, and now you've got water gushing into your boat. The original sink was right here. I do sort of feel like that's already sort of cutting it close because this boat does heel over a lot. So I'm actually curious how that performed when sailing, if the seacock always had to be closed on that sink or not. I'm not really sure, we'll have to ask.
But yeah, it was a tiny sink also, it wasn't deep at all, so maybe it just worked. But I wouldn't want anything similar.
Yeah. So yeah, still some more work to do about positioning the sink so that it's safe and doesn't fill up with water. The shower area is looking really, really nice. You know, when you stand here, it's a great feeling. You've got room around you, you've got headspace. I think this is going to be really luxurious and really nice. And Aladino has a few ideas about how to actually enclose that don't involve curtains as well, because curtains are kind of, I don't know, they're not the nicest thing. Overall, I'm pretty happy. It's really cool seeing templates because it really gives you a better understanding of the space and how it's going to actually look. So this is awesome. Good job, Aladino.
Thanks.
So, for this week, I think I'll leave you here. Next week, we have to go buy some more wood for our deck beams, and we're going to take you on a road trip to one of the best places to buy wood that we have ever encountered. After that, we'll try test fitting our new chain locker with some actual chain to see how it performs and what changes we'll have to make to the final design. And then, of course, in the background of all these next few episodes, the deck beams project continues. But I won't bore you with more video of that just yet, because it's at least a 5-week-long project, and I'm not sure you want 5 videos about the exact same thing. Don't worry, we'll update you once we're a bit further along on that project. So, as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thank you to our patrons for making these videos happen. And an extra big thanks to these folks who go out of their way to make sure that Magic Carpet 2 will be the best boat she can be.